well today, he'll walk out with a nice, comfortable championship lead, but that is going to be massively eaten into tomorrow.
Well, it might well be, and as you say, Link & Co, their 4 cars have all gone well in free practice
Massively
and in qualifying.
Tomorrow.
So there could be an awful lot for the 2 blue cars to work out between them. Benny Loiter here starts 9th on the grid after crashing his car in qualifying yesterday. A goal for Benny Loiter, 9th on the grid. Crashed in qualifying, tore the left-hand front wing off, broke the tyre and not suspension, but he's had a precautionary engine change, and Esteban Guerrieri, who starts on the back of the grid after his engine change, will be thrilled to learn that the stewards decided that having an accident that required an engine change is force majeure. Again, interesting interpretation of your own mistake, crashing the car and possibly overheating it or damaging the engine in some way, therefore as force majeure. Not sure that's the case.
Maybe they got some old Deutschmarks left over and they thought it was still valid currency over here. So yeah, there's obviously that doesn't all stack up and make sense.
No,
it's not. Seems to me not one rule for one, one rule for the other. But yes, it's what it is and what we got.
Gabriele Tarquini, 2009 WTCR champion, won the title here in Macau, won the 2018 WTCR championship title here in Macau as well last year. Now, he's not in the championship running this year, although effectively top 15 drivers are mathematically, so yes, he is mathematically, but he's already sacrificed his hopes for those of teammate Norber Michelis to try and ensure that BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa claim the team's title, and also that Norby has as good a run as he can to the driver's crown. Now, there are 26 cars on the grid, which may come as a surprise to you because there should be 28. Here's why 2 cars are not here. Wildcard Jim Carto, who raced a Honda for KC Motorsport Group in Suzuka and here, crashed heavily in qualifying. The car is not repairable on site, so that's Jim Carto not starting the race. And exactly the same reason for Gordon Shedden. Slid off at the end of qualifying, hit the barriers with the front of the car, and Team WRT have decided the car is not repairable here in Macau, and so Gordon Shedden will not race here in Macau. Question remains to be seen whether the team can somehow manage to fix the car in the next 3 weeks before Sepang. You would think that that is a racing certainty. However, in life, nothing is a racing certainty. So, Matt, Flash not on the grid, Jim Carto, the wild card, although he'd qualified on pace, not on the grid as well. And that's one of the penalties of flyaway races around the globe. You've only got what you've got. Yeah, it's the problem here. You know, they're on about flying cars here and there, but these container cars will be put straight in the containers and off to Malaysia. So they have very little turnaround time. Yeah, they do what they can here, and they have to almost finish them off when they get to Malaysia. And of course, in the intervening 3 weeks, they'll be on a boat. The crews will be back home in Europe, not with the car fixing it in 3 weeks. So you don't get 3 weeks, you get a race weekend to fix it. So, I mean, for WRT and the Audi, it's basically bring in a new car. Well, let's look at... It's interesting looking at Ted here, and the back of that Link & Co is lovely and clean at the moment, but he's got Gabriele Tarquini sat right on his tail, hasn't he? And don't know what Ted, you can be suggesting. Ted's got a shot at the title, and but Gabriele is definitely the wingman for Norby Michelitz at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how the politics sort of pan out, especially. And also within Cyan Racing Link & Co. There's the safety car driven by Bruno Correa, the safety car driver for WTCR and Formula E. And happy birthday, Bruno. 42 years old today. He doesn't look it, Martin. He doesn't actually, no. He's definitely got a portrait in the attic somewhere, hasn't he? So Bruno Correa has been our safety car driver for a long number of years, since the 2-litre days of WTCC, and celebrates his birthday today. And nice place to helmet design from Yann. Yeah, rolled that out in Suzuka, didn't he? And it is a great-looking helmet. Clearly, he's got the same red, white, and blue stripes that Ivan has had for many years, and seem to think his mum, Kathy Muller, had them in her racing career as well. But, yeah, great-looking helmet design. He starts in 5th. There has been a real breakdown in communications, apparently, within Cyan Racing between the championship contenders, Ted Björk and Ivan Muller. Now, I think we know which side of the fence Jan-Air Lachey is more inclined to be on. If there is a breakdown in communications, then he's more likely, I think, to see that Uncle Ivan has the moral high ground. However, he and Andy Priaulx both race for Cyan Racing Link & Co, and so the two of them will doing their level best for both Ivan and for Ted Bjerg. So Ted being at the back, if he gets to Jan-Air Lachey and Andy Priaulx, can expect a free pass somewhere. He cannot expect that from Alfa Romeo's Kevin Chacon. Winless so far this season, Alfa Romeo. Chacon won in Suzuka 2 races on the road, was allowed to keep 1 of those last year after a grid box infringement in race 3.
I thought Moore had won this year.
Yeah, he has, but Chacon hasn't.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, Marta has won in the Alpha. Exactly done, well remembered. But Kevin Chacon has not yet. From row 2 of the grid, it's conceivable, isn't it? You've got 2 them ahead of you. So for him and Andy Priaulx, also winless this year, and winless in his return to touring car racing, there is a shot. Now, if there is a championship challenger behind Andy, he will be expected to, and because he knows the team game, he will surrender victory to allow a teammate to take the points. But Priaulx is in really good form. Got through into the top 5 in Q3 yesterday, and finished second fastest behind King of Macau, Rob Huff. So he will start the final race on the front row of the grid in what is one of the quickest cars around here. Priaulx has a really good chance to win here in Macau.
Andy's really they've really got that car going underneath him in the sort of last few rounds. It's
always between the driver and the engineer, isn't it? And I think largely he'd admit it's the driver getting used to front-wheel drive.
No, I don't get that. I think I don't know what it is. But he's just suddenly, it's a shame he hadn't had this form from the beginning of the year. He'd be right there in the championship mix.
Well, we saw the same with Augusto Farfus. Farfus got to grips with Hyundai a little quicker, but then it was a better developed car than the Link & Co and had more history behind it. So we'll wait and see. Norbert Michels, our second place man in the championship, second on the front row of the grid. Now, in terms of points, he's got around 40 points over Ivan Muller. So Ivan, if he finishes, will only get 7 of those back. If Norby is at the front, the Link & Co drivers are always on the back foot. They're always having to catch up more than a single race is going to give them. There are 6 races remaining in the championship and 10 further qualifying points to be taken. So as of now, 85 points still on the table for Malaysia and 75 still here in Macau.
Yeah, the other important thing, Martin, is the aerodynamics of that Link & Co. I think the aerodynamicist was one of the designers for the former Chinese tank.
Yep.
You know, down the straight, the Hyundai has been super fast all weekend.
It is very quick, but the Link & Co is also a 3-box design, pretty quick.
We get into a drag race.
Yeah, well, he'll have the slipstream on Norby if he's tailing him down the straight, and that will take a bit of pace off Norby and give a bit of pace to Ivan. But Ivan starts on pole position. How he gets off the line might decide whether or not he wins this race, because they come off the line into the slight left-hander at Reservoir Bend. He'll be slightly on the outside, but if he's on the inside at Mandarin and can hold his pace, then he should lead into the hairpin at Lisboa. Well, if you want a driver with steely nerves, look no further than Ivan Muller. He has been there and done it. He has seen it all. He starts on the DHL pole position for race 1 in Macau, with championship contender Norbert Michels alongside. Andy Priaulx and Kevin Chacon, Jan-Air Lachey, and another championship contender, Ted Bjerg, are next up. Then Rob Hoff and Gabriele Tarquini, Benny Leuchter and Mikel Ascona. The Cooper very quick here in Ascona's hands. Fred Vervish and Nicky Katzberg ahead of Robert Dahlgren in for Daniel Hagloff and Thiago Montero. Johan Kristoffersen and Jean-Carl Verne, with Nesta Girolami and Aurelian Panis behind them. Then rounding out the top 20, Mehdi Banani in the Golf and Attila Tashi in his Honda. Niels Langeveld and sub-driver Luca Engstler in for Augusto Farfus ahead of Tom Coronel, the penalised Marcin Qua and Benny Lowe. And finally, Esteban Guerrieri starting 26th and last with an engine change. No Jim Carto, no Gordon Shedden. So the car reduced from 26 to 24, the cars on the grid. Also, the starting light gantry has been changed. The GT race that preceded us and why we're late couldn't get underway because the starting lights didn't work, so they had to use an old starting light system, which is on the other side of the grid from where the drivers are expecting to see it. So we will have to see how that works for them. They are on the driver's left as opposed to on the driver's right, or on the overhead gantry rather, so it's an old starting light system on the left. However, everybody will be so keyed up, I'm sure that they will get away without too many problems. So Van Muller, Norbert Mikulits, both race winners this year. Andy Priaulx and Kevin Chacon have not won races this season. But for sure, Priaulx is not free to overtake Muller if the Frenchman is in front of him. He is free to overtake Mikulits and try and defend against Muller, and that will be his job from the inside of row 2 of the grid. The cars sweeping around Donna Maria, heading up towards the Melco hairpin. Barriers everywhere and cranes to retrieve the drivers from the most likely incident points. Macau 14 meters wide in the new part, 7 meters wide up around the mountains. It is a narrow 2-lane road for city traffic. It is a very narrow racetrack at the speeds that these guys are going. Our points leader starts last. Esteban Guerrieri, 2 points ahead of Norbert Mikulits. 40 points behind them is the battle between Ted Bjerk and Ivan Muller. They are 3 points behind. And Mikael Ascona 90 points behind. In theory, could be the champion, and so could everybody down to 15th position. However, theory and somehow preventing the 14 drivers in front of you even turning up in Malaysia or finishing here in Macau are very different things. Esteban Guerrieri from Munich Motorsport last on the grid. Munich 9 points behind Sign Racing Link & Co. 14 points behind the leaders are BARC, Hyundai and Squadra Corsa. Nobody else in the championship battle for teams points. So Esteban Guerrieri will start with the Audi of Billy Lowe alongside him, and possibly, fortunately for Esteban, just the one wild card on the grid. Ivan Muller being very, very careful to line up in his pit box. Norbert Mikulits would appear to have wheels on the line, which is okay. And that is your front row complete. The rest of the field, 26 cars starting to line up behind them. Cars on the grid, ready to go. Race 1 in Macau. 6 races remain in the championship. This is round 9 of the 2019 FIA WTCR, and the front row men have been sitting there a long while as Marcin Qual, Billy Lowe and finally Esteban Guerrieri roll around to the grid. For Guerrieri, the slower he gets there, the better for him and the worse for the front row men, because his engine won't be overheating, nor will his clutch. He'll get there. The green flag will wave in just a moment. Race 1 about to get underway here in Macau. 5-second boards are shown. The gantry above us. And away we go, very short hold. Ivan Muller on pole, not a great start from Norbert Mikulits, cuts off Andy Priaulx. Job 1 done for Norby. Priaulx in 3rd, Erlaché coming through into 4th, around the outside of Kevin Chacon. He's been hung out to dry behind the blue slipstream roller coaster. Matt Neal, the Link & Co drivers, has done exactly what they needed to.
Yeah, Link & Co's working on their inside for shuffling Chacon out. He's out on his own, and that Alpha isn't the most aerodynamic thing. It'd be great to get another little image of the front, just see where they're actually panning out as they come down to the heavy braking of Lisboa.
Priaulx 3rd, Erlaché 4th. They've left the Alpha in 5th ahead of Ted Bjerk. So Bjerk has been tail end Charlie, and in fact in front of him has gone Gabriele Tarquini. So Bjerk has made up a spot from the grid, or has he? No, he was 6th, so he's lost a place from the grid. Muller leads. Norbert Mikulits in second, then Prio, Air Lachey, then Chacon, the white Alpha, he's in fifth. Sixth is Rob Huff, great start from Huff. Jumped up to sixth place. I thought it was Tarquini had got ahead of Ted Björk. Huff's up to sixth. Or is it Tarquini? I'm mistaking. Esteban Guerrieri started very slowly away. He's got to keep his car in one piece. Saturday is a total write-off unless there's a mass pile-up somewhere, which he has to avoid to take 10 cars out and put him in the points. So he's got by Billy Lowe, the wild card. Esteban Guerrieri up to 25th. The points leader is 10 cars away from even 1 point in this race. So far, everybody neat and tidy. It is Huff behind Chacon. Tarquini did not get ahead of Ted Björk, so Björk down to 7th. He's lost a place on the grid.
This is actually a dream start, but you can't begin to understand the internal politics at the Lincoln Co. You know, being a teammate of Muller vying for a championship when there's half a chance. You know, Plato's been on the receiving end of it, Thompson's been on the receiving end. There's a whole list of drivers, and I've been in championship positions against Ivan Muller, and the guy knows how to roll his sleeves up, definitely. And
yes, he does.
You know, Ted's back there. He's got Gabrielli on his rear bumper, who's obviously fighting the Michelet's corner. He's got Huffy in front of him, who's the Meister of Macau. Yep. So he's got a bit of a tough ask in front of him now. And you know, Muller's got a nice little buffer. If he can come out of here with a nice little points bag against Björk, suddenly it could be team orders, please, chaps.
Yes, absolutely.
We've got 1 round left. We need to focus this, you know, focus everything on the team.
Well, it depends how far away they are, but if Ivan Muller looks like he's having a better weekend already than Ted Björk. Björk down in 7th place, lost a spot from the grid. Pretty much follow my leader at the moment. Have to wait until tyre wear and other stresses start to take their toll. But Muller just easing away from Mikulits. Prio and Air Lachey running rear gunner here, basically. Prio not attacking Norby yet. Tarquini holding off the car of Frederick Vernish and into the barriers now. There's the first couple. Off has gone Verne, off has gone Loister, off has gone Ascona. Yellow flags are out, so that's 3 places closer to the points for Guerrieri. And Benny Loister straight off into the barriers. Looks like he is still there.
I don't think it's any terminal. It's just very difficult to get the reverse gear in these things. So
sequential gearboxes, you can't just hook a reverse like you can in a manual car. So who started that? Was it Verne running deep under braking? Either way, they all sort of distracted themselves. And Matt, you're in a fast-moving stream of metal. If the car in front is a fraction earlier on the brakes, you're in trouble. If he's a fraction too late on the brakes, you're in trouble, because you tend to react partially to what the car in front is doing as well as what your scenery is telling you.
Exactly, Martin, which is what caught Michelet's out in qualifying.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, a Flash had a moment where other drivers had a moment. Michelet's arrived round there blind, completely on the scene, and rear-ended Flash, and that's ended Flash's weekend, unfortunately. But you know, and curtailed Michelet's for it was an accident that shouldn't have happened. But that's Macau, unfortunately.
Well, everybody has continued, but that leaves 3 cars right at the tail of the field. Luckily for Esteban Guerrieri, who's just moved up another couple of places, that's not a big problem for him.
Yeah, by that little 3-car thing, I think it's probably the cleanest Macau I've seen ever so far.
You had to say that, didn't you? 2 laps in the books here in Macau. This is an 8-lap race. It is a long lap here around the streets of Macau, the longest of the season. So Kevin Chicane looking at him down there in a white Alpha in 5th position. Got jumped by Air Lachey at the start.
Longest lap bar Nürburgring Nordschleife,
yes,
obviously.
That's true. But that's not, well, it is a racetrack, but that's a very, that's a very different planet, isn't it, compared to anything else. So, Billy Lowe at the back. Jean-Carl Verne, Benny Loitre and Mikel Ascona also behind Esteban Guerrieri. In fact, Billy Lowe has moved up a spot, but Benny Loiter last of all. And in under braking, Ted Björk holding off Gabriele Tarquini and Fredrik Vervish. Björk could be in trouble here. Doesn't seem to quite have the pace of the Hyundai behind him. He's losing ground to Rob Huff's Golf in front, the number 12 car there. And down the fast stuff, where he should be benefiting from the slipstream in the cars in front, looks like Tarquini's getting more of a benefit behind.
Martin, I was just thinking, you know, they work on the balance of performance. You know, I mean, it's not one thing, weight or power or throttle. It's a whole massive multitude of things.
Yep.
But the cars this weekend, and you sometimes see a car with a little bit of an advantage on the straight line. You know, the Alpha was strong at points last year. They were all so evenly matched. It was hard for them to really benefit from the slipstream.
Yep.
You know, even Vervish, you know, you'd say that slippery Audi, he's struggling to pull on anything down the straights. They're very, very evenly matched, which is going to make it really hard for these guys to overtake today.
Yeah, the Audi had very good speed in qualifying. The Audis were the quickest cars in qualifying in terms of top speed, up at 250s. 257 kilometers an hour heading up to Lisboa, which is a 80 kilometer an hour right-hand hairpin, basically. Jan Erlaché behind Andy Priaulx. Priaulx in a podium position for the first race here in Macau, behind Ivan Muller and Norbert Mikulits. And if you're Norby now, what do? Do you gamble everything, or do you just go, yeah, Ivan will be 7 points closer, but I started the day with a 43-point advantage over him, so I can take that pain if I can guarantee to finish second. I'm going to finish second.
Well, yeah, I think he would. I mean, he's going to push hard, but I think, you know, it's a long day tomorrow. The gloves normally do come off, and the sleeves get rolled up in races 2 and 3. So he's got more of a chance of picking up places than the likes of Guerrieri today.
Ted Björk's been given a spot by Jan Erlaché, so Björk moves up to 6. Erlaché now tail gunner for him, so that will have been a team radio. Fredrik Vervish now trying to attack Gabriele Tarquini, going the long way round. On the outside,
wasn't Erlaché in front of Chicon originally? So has he dropped back 2 places?
Well, he's definitely dropped behind Ted.
Unless he made a mistake.
Yeah, no, he was behind Priaulx, wasn't he? So
yeah,
he's dropped back behind Chicon and Huff. And if he'd make that big a mistake, they'd have been involved in it on the city streets. So he's pulled aside, dropped back behind Ted Björk, give Ted some points.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought Muller would be happy about that.
Doesn't matter if Muller's happy. What happens if Muller's car is wrecked? What happens if Muller falls down the stairs, breaks his leg, and can't race in Malaysia? It happened to Sebastian Loeb. You can't, with only 2 race weekends left, go, okay, everything on Ivan.
Martin, I'll just repeat that. I wouldn't think Muller would be happy about that.
No, I know. For some reason, there's a lot of friction in the camp at the moment, and that's possibly because Ted Björk got the points lead over Ivan in Suzuka.
Poor Jan might get his Christmas present.
Well, listen, it's not Ivan's decision. It is the team. You're racing for the team. And don't forget, you know, the guys that are running this team have got a lot of multi-car team experience, predominantly ex-RML staff from the Chevrolet days in WTCC. And so it's inherent in their DNA to try and give the team the best possible opportunity. As of now, Norby still leads. Guerrieri drops from 2 to 18 points behind because he's not scoring, and Norby's in second. And Ivan Muller will be 36 points behind. So Guerrieri in free fall at the moment, in the drop zone between Mikulits and Muller. He's halfway between them. And although he's supposed to start race 2 on pole position, he does have a grid penalty for that. Only 3 spots, but that means he may not win
Lincoln Codes are going to make hay on Guerrieri today.
Yep.
But then they're going to make hay on Mikulits tomorrow.
Well, they're also going to make hay on Guerrieri in race 2 because he will be amongst them, not in front of them, if he's dropped off the front row. So having that penalty applied, not to the first race that he competes in, race 1, which is where the rules say it should be applied. They've decided that because the qualifying was for races 2 and 3, no matter that it happened before race 1, they're going to apply the penalties to race 2 and 3.
Just go through reservoir. I'd be interested to see if we can just clock the speed of this Audi compared to the Lincoln Co. Doesn't put a lot on it, does he?
No, he's having to feather the throttle, isn't he? Because as they get through Mandarin here, he's going to lose traction or lose aero on the front. Now he's got a good run.
Yeah, he's got a run on him.
Got a good run, and so too has Norby on Ivan. Norby's getting closer.
Now, Lachey's left the door open.
Yeah, I don't think he had an option. He was giving away the toe, and Frederick Vervisch has got through. Now, either Lachey dropped back deliberately 2 or 3 spots, or he's got an issue that maybe he had to Control-Alt-Delete the ignition or something. Maybe the gearbox is malfunctioning and he hasn't got what he needs underneath him.
He just looks as though he's rolling over too easy for me. I don't know why. Unless he's got an issue with the car or...
Fastest race lap, 3:32.109, set by Muller, no. Michelitz, no. Priaulx, no. Jean-Carl Vernet in 24th, again underlining how quick the Audi is. Frederick Vervisch through the speed trap, by the way, 263.4. That's the fastest speed we've seen. That is over 161 miles an hour down to the braking area at Lisboa. On streets like this, that's ridiculously quick, but that's the effect of the slipstream. Halfway through race 1 here in Macau, and Yvan Muller will say it might have looked easy, but it wasn't easy, and you have to take his word for it. This is not easy. Norbert Michelitz in 2nd, Andy Priaulx in 3rd. The white Alfa Romeo, that's Kevin Chicon in 4th, ahead of Rob Huff's Golf, and slow out to the hairpin, Ted Björk. He's in 6th position, and he is ahead no longer of Jan Lachey, but of Frederick Vervisch and Gabriele Tarquini. So Björk might be coming under attack from this man as we ride with Fred Vervisch. We've just seen him slipstream by the Hyundai. He's now going to be in Björk's toe. Björk going very wide on the racing line as they get through Arbend. But this is meat and drink to Fred Vervisch. He just needs to sit here, tuck up behind him into Mandarin Oriental, and then blow by him on the straight. Look at the rate of closing of the Audi. Ted Björk's in trouble here. Yeah,
Vervisch is making very good, steady progress into... He can just hang on through reservoir. It's very touch and go through here. He's got a good run through there.
Again, now, into Mandarin there. He was just breathing off the throttle.
Right.
Björk's going to go defensive.
Yeah, he's not been as polite as Lachey was, wasn't he? And he can hold on to that for another lap.
Well, Fred got by Lachey. Lachey didn't have much to say about it. Lachey holding off Tarquini. Not that Tarquini's going to be able to get very far forward to hurt the championship chances of Björk or Muller.
It's interesting, the swing in the Audi camp, because initially the WRT was the real favoured, the strongest team out of the two,
and all last season as well.
Well, the first half of last season, where would come to you?
Well, they were. Oh, that's Mar and that'll be Langeveld. Yeah, so they've gone straight on at Lisboa. That's the slip road at the exit. That's the road that you've been on when you turn off it to go at Lisboa up the hill. So they've gone straight on down the escape road. Has Mar got damage on the front? Looks like he might have.
Didn't see anything on Langeveld's rear.
No. Well, there's the Romeo Ferrari's team. And Nils Langeveld hard up against the barriers. Yeah, right front corner, look.
Yeah.
He's been into the barriers on the right. I'm guessing he tried to squeeze alongside Mar, bounced off the barrier, and it might have taken the two of them out together. Langeveld was 20th, Mar was 21st. So, in fact, when he crossed the stripe, Langeveld had got in front of Mar, and so had Tom Coronel. So Coronel survives in 19th. That's 2 more gimmies for Esteban Guerrieri, so he's up to 20th. He needs some help here, though. There's only 2 more laps, and Guerrieri needs 5 more cars to retire to even get a point.
Yeah, just going back to the Audi politics, we're obviously back in car with Vervisch now. Come to you really seem to have got in the grip. They're outgunning, they've outgunned WRT, you'd say, all through this year.
Yep.
Whatever's been happening with in the flash side of the WRT camp, nobody knows. whatever with the car, or we don't know. Vernay's been up and down the grid.
Yep. They've not had the consistency, have they?
Yes.
And actually in Honda it's been quite similar for the first half of the season and more. Munich Motorsport were all over it, and KCMG really struggled. And then in the last 2 or 3 rounds, KCMG have been right there at the sharp end, very, very competitive. And I wonder whether Honda have decided that getting a much better flow of information between the 2 teams is really important.
They're working as 2 separate teams to
Certainly,
start with.
yeah, they are.
And it is one uniform, you know, sort of Honda umbrella now. So fighting for the greater good.
And Vervish trying to get by Björk again, didn't really get a chance to put a move in there. If Armola still leads in the blue Lincoln Co. from Norbert Mikulits and the blue Lincoln Co. of Andy Priaulx, the white Alpha there, Kevin Chacon in 4th, King of Macau, Rob Huff, winless last year, took his 9th pole yesterday. Outright pole in Macau, he has 9 wins, looking for win number 10. And if his car stays in one piece until the end of the race, in race 2, then he should win race 3 from that pole position. Fastest race lap now, 2:31.8 for Fred Vervish, another Audi. And again, that big toe has really helped him.
Yeah, where was that pace in qualifying?
Well, it's getting a clean lap with no yellow flags. And, I mean, Rob Huff doing a 2:29 in qualifying. He said, I hope what was it, 2:20?
Yeah, 29, yeah.
He said,
I mean, still
never
2
want to do
seconds
that again.
off the qualifying pace. But
Guerrieri in the pits, championship leader, wasn't going to score any points anyway. So if there's anything even fractionally wrong with the car, they're going to have a little adjust now. Doesn't matter, he wasn't in the points, doesn't lose anything. But it's an indication that this is not a great weekend at the moment for Esteban Guerrieri. Well, the traffic jam ever at the hairpin at Melco. No overtaking there, permanently held yellow flags. That's why you have a green on the exit. So tempting as it might be, long, long, long history has taught us that any passing attempt there just results in a crash and a red flag, and so all passing attempts have been banned. Fredrik Vervish, the man with the fastest race lap, behind Ted Björk. Looks as though Björk has shaken him off a little. Björk's not going to be able to attack Rob Huff, and to be honest, it would be foolish to try and do so at the moment. Doesn't look like Ted Björk's got a podium finishing car behind him. If he could get by Huff, then he'd get a free position. No, he has to get by Huff and Chacon to get a free position, so that's not happening. Off Andy Priaulx. Mikulits, Priaulx, that's your podium, isn't it? Final lap of the race.
Yeah, I think, you know, you're on about Muller saying no easy lap round. Macau's an easy lap, but I think Muller's been pacing this. He's just been staying far enough in front of Michelitz. You know, Michelitz has been fast all week. So I don't think he's going to break away, especially with the slipstreaming. So I think he's just been doing what he needs to do to stay where he is.
On board with Fred Vervish in the Audi in 6th position. He was right, 7th place. He was right up, almost alongside Ted Björk there, but Björk did just enough to hold him off. Notice that Priaulx was closing in on Mikulits at the end of the straight, but he might have trouble on his hands with Kevin Chacon. Has Chacon been keeping his powder dry until the final lap? Does he think he's got something in the slipstream to the line that might allow him to get by Priaulx? Well, Priaulx will fight for the podium, won't he, with everything he's got?
Priaulx definitely, well, they all desperately want. The one place you want a podium or a win is Macau. Problem is, with Ivan playing the statistic game, he's only worried about one person, that's himself.
Yep.
Getting points.
Well, rightly so.
That's Ivan. But what that's doing, it's providing a bit of a bottleneck for all these guys. You know, you've got Vervish in 7th on the 10-10. You could see that all sort of concertinaing up right to the last corner or the last lap.
Well, Ivan, as the race leader, self-preservation. Norbert Mikulits has also thought about the championship. 2nd place is better than no points, and he will definitely take that. It'll give him an 18-point lead at the end of this race over his closest rival, Esteban Guerrieri, who came here as the championship leader They'll give him a 16-point advantage, won't it? Because he'll get 18 for second, and he was 2 points behind Esteban. So Ivan Muller will get 25 points, 18 for Norbert Mikulec, 15 for Andy Priaulx, unless Kevin Chacon can spring something here down the straight. And look, Priaulx's pulled out wide. Is he dropping back behind Ted Björk? I think he is. Chacon is going to be on the podium in third.
No.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what the team needed to do. So Björk will move up to fifth. More points. Muller might not be able to win the title. Priaulx is done. Don't forget, he's starting race 3 on the front row, so he's likely to get a podium there. But that is what Duncan Laycock there in the blue shirt and what the rest of the guys have decided. Yann Elachet and Andy Priaulx have sacrificed points for themselves to give Lincoln Co's 2 championship contending drivers as much of a chance as they could. Wow. Well, that was smart thinking, and for Priaulx, he won't have been happy, but he knows the way the game is played. He's been a factory driver for long enough. He's had the advantage when he's been a championship contender oftentimes, and he knows that's the way it is. Steve Soper told me this years and years ago when he was in the DTM racing for BMW. He said, we all know the way the game is played. The first 3 races of the championship are the most important, because if you're not in front, then you know you're going to spend the rest of the year serving the other drivers.
Martin, was when Priaulx was winning the World Championship, he was in a single car outfit.
Yes.
He was against Schnitzer BMWs.
Yes.
And he was on his own.
Yep. Because
he was against them. So when he did it on his own.
Yeah, but don't forget, he's been a factory driver at BMW, a factory driver at Ford.
But he's the ultimate team player and ultimate touring car exponent. But I would say with Andy, he's had to do it on his. He hasn't had the benefit of that when he's, you know, he's got 3, 4 world championships under his belt.
Unfortunately, Andy will have obviously had a technical issue that forced him to pull out of the way. Briefly, there was something wrong with the car.
And to be honest, fair play to Priaulx. That was a difficult ask to let Ted by, and you've got a fast Verfish with a good slipstream behind him. You know, you see the TV now. That was mighty close at the end.
Well, of course, Andy is also not scoring points for Lincoln Co's best championship team, so it doesn't hurt their team's title either. It helps it. So Ivan Muller, the winner, race 1 in Macau, and he moves now to 36 points behind the leader, but only 18 behind Esteban Guerrieri. However, crucially for Ivan, he's now 11 points ahead of Ted. Sign Racing Lincoln Co, 2 scoring cars, and again, Andy Priaulx and Yann Elachet both dropping back. They're in the other Sign Racing team, so that benefits the team's contest as well as the drivers. That was a win-win situation for Sign Racing, as long as there is no longer any penalty for deliberately slowing down. Now, in horse racing, because of the money that's involved, the Jockey Club would suspend you for not trying, but we don't have that in motor racing. Don't forget, we've got the very awkward qualifying situation we have because of things like that.
Got as close to points as he can to Ivan, because Ted's fast, and if anyone's going to take the fight to him, it's Ted. So, and we want that, you know, and you know, he's a champion himself, so he knows how to win a championship. He knows how to take the pressure. So it's another one in the mix for us.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, congratulations to Ivan Muller, to Norbert Mikulec and Kevin Chacon on their podium finish here. So podium for the Alpha driver. And in other news from South Africa, congratulations to the Bloodhound land speed record team. They have today just pushed over the 1,000 km/h barrier. 628 miles an hour speeds posted today. So that is very, very close to the speed of sound. And of course, Bloodhound with Andy Green broke the speed of sound in the Black Rock Desert in Nevada over a decade ago. And the current target is to return, I believe, to South Africa next year and to try and push the land speed record to 1,000 miles an hour. So they're 5/8 of the way there. Well, 261 kilometers an hour down the front straight here at Macau must feel all of 1,000 miles an hour to these guys. The Lincoln Co cars weren't doing it, but the Audi did. And Ivan Muller, whew, breathes a sigh of relief there. That is a big, big step closer to the WTCR title. Now, it won't be decided here in Macau. It is highly unlikely to be decided until maybe even the very final race of 30 at Sepang in Malaysia, a new track for everybody. But that's a big relief for Ivan Muller. Qualifying on pole was one thing, no dramas, no crashes, getting the points. That's the key, Matt. Points make prizes.
Yeah, he might even be smiling under that helmet, doesn't he?
Well, Justine Monnier.
Justine's always smiling.
She's not always, but that was a big result for him. And Norby, what else could he do? Did exactly what he needed to do. Getting into a fight with Ivan, risking a crash, was 100% the wrong thing to do. If the opportunity threw itself at him, he'd take it. But Kevin Chacon, he was in a fight. He was in the fight all the way. He got up early at the start. From third place, he was deposed a little by Jan Erlaché. Then Erlaché dropped back to give Ted Bjerg points. And Andy Prio dropped out of third to give Ted Bjerg points. And so, all the hard work, sometimes you're the lucky one, sometimes you're not. Today, Kevin Chacon got luck as well as his hard work and ends up on the podium.
Yeah, you can tell by Kevin's still wired, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, listen, mate, you know, racing around Macau, even if you're last, your eyes are out on stalks every second of the weekend,
He's
aren't
slowly
they?
retracting them now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were to test their adrenaline levels here, never mind the heart rate, if you could test the adrenaline level, it would be probably humanly unsustainable and bannable, I would think, under almost any WADA limit.
If you get an Italian on the... you get them on the radio comms, their voice accelerates. I mean, an Italian with that as well.
Ivan Muller taking his third Macau win, his third WTCR win of this season. What a very nice place to be. Shifts you up to P3 in the standings as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing because I retired in 2016. I thought I will never come back, at least in the car, because I came in 2017 with Cyan to help Ted to be with champion. And I was miles away to think, okay, one day I will be back on that track in the car. And I am back in the car, and even on the good way, because there is a victory. So it's pretty fantastic. But again, it's a real team effort. Thank you for all the boys. Thank you to Ted, Andy, and Jan, because they helped me also, because they pushed me to be faster, and they helped me also on the qualifying.
Great, well done, Ivan.
And that's all part of the emotion for Ivan Muller. It's not just the points, it's not just the race. As you said, this place and the Nordschleife. If there's anywhere you want to win, they're the ones. And he has claimed a win here on the streets of Macau. Race 1 done. Races 2 and 3 coming on Sunday. Well, Cyan Racing Link & Co. with 4 cars in the top 6 always had a lot of cards to play, Matt, and they've done a really good job team-wise. Yeah, a little tough on Jan Erlaché. Yes, a little tough on Andy Prio. What will be really tough on Andy Prio is if he's somehow leading the race ahead of Rob Huff or somebody else on Sunday and is asked to give the points away. That'll be different. Race 1 on the streets of Macau, highest track temperatures of the weekend, meaning an even tougher environment for the drivers. And after 2 days of practice and qualifying, Ivan Muller starting from pole position ahead of second man in the championship, Norbert Mikulits. But with 4 blue cars in the top 6, Cyan Racing Link & Co. always had something to say. Jan Erlaché moving up to 3rd, Ted Bjerg trying to get 4th from Kevin Chacon, who started in 4th on the grid. The Alpha cutting off the Hyundai, the Link & Co. driver, and the Golf of Rob Huff also squeezing in front of Bjerg, who was being conservative at the end of the front straight. So Bjerg started 6th down to 7th on lap 1. Gabriele Tarquini fighting his way by Fredrik Vervisch to try and give his best efforts to teammate Norbert Mikulec. 3 cars off on the escape road moved Esteban Guerrieri up a couple of spots, having started last on the grid, but Guerrieri was never going to feature in the points. Vervish moved back up the order, slipstreaming his way by Tarquini, and then Jan Erlaché dropped down the order to move Ted Björk up, leaving Muller ahead of Mikulec, Prio and Chacon. But on the final lap, Andy Prio pulled to one side, Chacon moved up onto the podium, and Ted Björk moved up into 5th position. Esteban Guerrieri drops to 2nd, Norbert Mikulec takes the points lead. So that's the way race 1 finished. Ivan Muller, Norbert Mikulec, Kevin Chacon on the podium. Muller moves ahead of Björk, and Mikulec moves ahead of Guerrieri. Championship is a-changing. In the pre-podium room, Kevin Chacon there just sitting down. Ivan Muller and Justine, his partner, enjoying the fruits of race 1. Started from pole, won the race from Norbert Mikulec, who was never likely to try a banzai move. Norby taking 2nd, moves into the points lead. Kevin Chacon, an unexpected podium in 3rd, because Andy Prio dropped down behind Ted Björk and somehow squeezed in ahead of Fred Vervish, who was barely behind him at all. So Björk gaining from the sacrifice of Prio and of Erlaché. Erlaché finishing in 8th. Esteban Guerrieri had moved up into 20th place, but then pitted with an issue with the car. He finished in the end 24th, a lap down behind Billy Lowe, Nos Langeveld and Marcin Kwa, the only crash-induced retirees in what was a very clean race in Macau. So here's the championship now. Norby back on top. Started the race 2 points behind Esteban Guerrieri. Guerrieri now halfway between he and Ivan Muller, who also leapfrogs his own teammate Ted Björk. Muller was 3 points behind Björk and is now 11 points ahead of the Swede. So a gain for Norby and a gain for Muller. And that means now of our 15 contenders this morning, only 10 have, with the judicious use of a slide rule and presumably an assassin, a chance of winning the championship. 10 cars still in it, with 5 races to go. Mathematically, though, we are still looking at a 4-horse race. Norbert Mikulec, Esteban Guerrieri, Ivan Muller and Ted Björk are our championship leaders in that order, and it's impossible to imagine anybody else winning the title. So there's the view over the water at the city of Macau, or at least a part of it. And for the Romeo Ferraris team, Team Mulsanne, another podium for the Alfa Romeo. Kevin Chacon taking 3rd. Marcin Kwa, a winner earlier in the season for Alfa Romeo. Chacon, of course, a winner for the team last year. It'll be interesting to see if the Team Mulsanne crew can find a backing to continue into next year. Be nice to see them. Be nice to see Peugeots and Renaults, which also have TCR cars. Be nice to see Peugeot coming back. The Renault Megane looks like a pretty competitive car in European TCR. Be nice to see some of those on the grid. A bit more variety. There are more manufacturers with TCR machinery than we see represented here at the world level. Teams points, Sign Racing, Lynk & Co, BRC, Hyundai and Squadra Corsa and allinkle.com Munich Motorsport are the only teams in it. And because of the sacrifices of the 4th place team's drivers, Sign Racing, Lynk & Co gain more than they might have expected otherwise, and they creep a little away. They're now 23 points ahead of BRC, Hyundai and Squadra Corsa, which of course is Norby and Gabrielli. And Munich Motorsport, their 2 cars, Esteban Guerrieri didn't score, nor did Nestor Girolami got points in 14th place, so they only get a couple of points, so they are slipping a little further away, and they have now dropped down to 3rd place in the title race. And this is where the might of 4-car squads helps out against a 2-car entity, because you've got more cards to shuffle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium of the first race, the Circuit de Gear of the FIA World Touring Car Cup. by Oscaro. Please welcome onto the podium in third position from Team Mulsanne, it's Kevin Chekon. In second position from BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse, it's Novi Michelitz. And your winner from Cyan Racing Lincoln Co., it's Yvonne Muller. Representing Cyan Racing Lincoln Co. is Peter Christofferson. And now for the national anthem. For both Yvonne Muller and Cyan Racing Lincoln Co. And now for the trophies. Hong Kong's famous actress, Ms. Eliza Sam, will present our third position trophy to Team Mulsanne's Kevin Chekon. Hong Kong's famous actress, Ms. Selena Lee, will present our second position trophy to BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse's Novi Michelitz. Hong Kong's most famous actor and singer, Mr. Aaron Kwok, will present Cyan Racing Lincoln Co.'s winner, Yvonne Muller. The director of the Macau Government Tourism Office, Ms. Maria Helena de Sena Fernandez, will present the winning team trophy to Cyan Racing Lincoln Co.'s Christopher Peterson. Now, if you could all come together, please, for your first official photograph. Gentlemen, if you could just stay where you are for your second official photograph. Thank you very much to Eliza Sam, Selena Lee, Aaron Kwok, and Maria Helena de Sena Fernandez. Thank you very much. If we could just have one with just the drivers, thank you. Don't run away yet. Hang on, Kevin. Wait, wait, wait. Boys, your official photograph. Peter, you're allowed in that one. All right. Now you can grab your bottles. Let's party!
Well, not too much partying yet in Macau because we have races 2 and 3 tomorrow. So a busy day still coming up for our drivers and teams on Sunday. Fortunately, less damage to repair, it would seem, than after free practice or qualifying. A tidier race than perhaps you might expect. I think it'll get a little less tidy tomorrow. We'll wait and see. So the deal for tomorrow's timetable is the cars will come out onto the grid at 20 minutes after 8 local time. That's 20 minutes after midnight GMT. So 0020 Zulu hours, wherever you are, convert that to your own time. We'll hear Alex now chatting to our drivers.
2008 here,
or maybe we won't. So Norman Michelisz, Esteban Guerrieri, Ivan Muller, Ted Björk. Same four still in it. Gabriele Tarquini only 106 points behind. Mathematically, just about still in it. In fact, the top 10 are still in it. However, behind the top 4, Tarquini is already sacrificing himself, as to Nesta Girolami for their teammates. So that is pretty much where we are. 5 races, 4 drivers, 3 teams. That's the title race. We will be on air at shortly after midnight Greenwich Mean Time, Sunday morning, for the first race tomorrow. We'll see you then.